Good afternoon, everybody. I'm Susan. I'm the Education Director here at the Museum of Glass, and it's lovely to have you all here on this snowy, freezing day. Drive carefully, please. And here's our wonderful artist, Fumi. She is a Japanese artist living and yay, Fumi! and she is working on a commission for Concourse C at SeaTac Airport, and we're so proud to help and assist in this magnificent project. And we're looking forward to seeing it all in 2026. She's living and working in Snohomish, County, Washington, and she strives to break the stereotypes of Asian ideals of womanhood and beauty influenced by Western culture. Through her art, she challenges the silent Asian woman to reveal the complexities that lie underneath the guise of the superficial dream of being an Asian woman. Her work has been exhibited in many museums and galleries nationally and internationally, including at the Bellevue Art Museum, at the Storefronts program sponsored by Shunpike, and the Toyama Glass Art Museum in Japan. Fumi received second prize in Out-of-the-Box Outdoor Sculpture Exhibition at the Jule Collins Smith Museum of Fine Art in Auburn, Alabama. We are so glad to have you here. It's such a pleasure, and I'm going to turn the mic over to you now.
Thank you, Susan. Hi, my name is Fumi Amano. Thank you so much for coming today and listening to my lecture. And thank you for the museum for giving me this amazing opportunity to work with great team for 5 days. It's been really a great time. I'm gonna talk a little more about this amazing experience in a lecture. So I'm gonna start my lecture. I think I did wrong. This way? I don't know how to control this. Cool. Thank you. I'm just use this one. I'm currently working for Pratt Fine Art Center in downtown Seattle as the glass studio manager. Thank you, Pratt folks, for coming today. Pratt is a non-profit art organization with different art studios such as glass, 2D, wood, metal, and jewelry. We are serving to the community to provide equal art educational opportunities. I am coordinating glass art classes, events, and managing the rental studio there. I'm originally from Aichi Prefecture in Japan. I went to Aichi University of Education for undergrad. My major was art education and craft. And I went to Toyama Institute of Glass Art after that to formally learn glass art making. There are lots of opportunities to learn from international artists in Toyama. So I got interested in studying abroad in the US. After I graduated from Toyama, I was working for a junior high school as a general art teacher to save some money to move to the United States. And I moved to the United States in 2013. I went to Virginia Commonwealth University in Richmond, Virginia for the master degree. And at VCU, I started working on something I've never tried before. I started making performance art and conceptual art. After I moved to Richmond, Virginia, I felt so isolated. I had a boyfriend, but I felt distance from him after I turned 30 years old. He was 23 years old at that time. As I got older, I felt more and more pressure from those around me to get married and conceive a child. He was not so serious about getting married. So because I paid attention to that subject, every time I saw someone's like baby's post on social media, I felt that I was kind of behind as an adult and woman. So I started the series of video work, worries of a 30-year-old single woman, to express that feeling I had at that time. I was bitching about the relationship with that boyfriend and social pressure I had while I was running on the treadmill in the middle of the street. So this is after story, but that young man and I got married after 6 years of relationship. So I'm glad he didn't walk away after watching that video work, me like bitching about him. I was thinking about the concept of beauty in Asia. Throughout Asia, there is a common occurrence of white models on the fashion magazines and cosmetic advertisement, as if they are the universal example of perfect beauty. So I tried to expose that twisted idea of aesthetic in Asian culture, ironically, with the video work Asian Girl Struggle. Could you play the video, please? So in that video, I tried to make up myself while riding on that horse machine. So during that process, my friend threw me sausages continuously as an obstacle. And I'm gonna move on next. So since I was thinking about my age, concept of beauty, and what's happiness for women, I got interested in the concept of feminism. In January 2017, I participated in the Women's March in Washington, D.C., and witnessed many signs and placards with drawing of uterus. So the uterus is a symbol of woman, as it is the source of life, conception, and birth. But in that context of the Women's March, that uterus exemplifies how women still do not occupy that same place as men in society. So they are not treated as well as men, and their bodies are still being controlled by the decisions of men. So I started using uterus as a motif in my art. I created this glass neon uterus piece, Touch Me Gently, that responds to touch. It's reacted to your fingers because it is a single electrode work. I encourage viewers to touch the piece to enjoy that reaction. I was hoping this piece served as a visual metaphor for that receptiveness and vulnerability of women. And I created this giant uterus-shaped sculpture made with metal structures and ropes that visitors are able to enter the sculpture and experience the reverse of themselves from that giant uterus. So the goal of this piece is to allow people to rethink their appreciation for their mothers and all women through that interaction with that art. It was really fun to see how people interact with that artwork. Like when kids come into the gallery space, they are just like, ah! Kids will just so simply enjoy playing with this giant jungle gym without like knowing what they are doing. And I have series of work with old materials such as window frames and old lampshades to repurpose those materials. I created a complex glass house to perform inside. The shape of the house and windows are constructed in a distorted manner to reflect the misunderstanding between people. To me, sheet glass is like an invisible filter between people. We can see each other, but we cannot touch each other. So I create that glass house to protect myself, but also to communicate with other people through performance and break through that invisible filter. Those are kind of some other glass house type sculptures I've made in the past. I started making public art since pandemic started in 2020. A lot of exhibitions were canceled around that time, but still outdoor exhibitions and public art opportunities were open to the artists. So I applied for a bunch of opportunities and spent a lot of time practicing stained glass technique because I could complete it on my desk during quarantine period. So the piece on left, Blue Sun, is a lighting sculpture made out of old lampshades. I collected them from the local community and online second-hand stores. Through that mending of stained glass, I explored the concept of rebuilding our broken world. So this project I completed in 2022 called Link was commissioned by Meta, former Facebook. I created this 30-feet stained glass lighting installation for their office space in Bellevue, Washington. It's actually on a public street side, so people can see it from the street. So if you have a chance to go to Bellevue, Washington, please look around in Meta's office. I wanted to show kind of like a work in progress shots here. To create this three-dimensional stained glass work, I cut out styrofoam with CNC router. Then I built the glass sculpture on top of it, so that styrofoam acting as the mold. So the glass piece will be like a shell after complete building that stained glass work. And to install, after installing the plywood backing and LED light, the glass shells covers on top of that frame. I participated in the residency program at Amazon office building in 2023. I was creating art inspired by my pregnancy journey during that residency program. My work rethinks connections with female ancestors through umbilical cords, explores the difficulties of fertility treatment, and moves forward with a renewed appreciation for all female bodies. Yeah, so with that young guy, and I got married in 2020, but my husband and I have been undergoing fertility treatment for that past couple of years. During that process, there was a lot of testing, medication, and failures to get pregnant successfully. So when asked about our family plan after marriage, I hesitated to be vulnerable. I was afraid of being judged as an imperfect human being since I was not able to get pregnant in a normal way. So water flows when we open the faucet as if there are unlimited resources in our lifetime, in contrast to the difficulties of fertility treatment. So I expressed that absurdity in our complex lives through this installation. In thinking about the female ancestors connected through umbilical cords, I started making the drawing and installation to appreciate the female bodies. So now talking about this project. So I received that public art opportunity from Port of Seattle to create a sculpture with glass for the new concourse C at the Seattle Tacoma International Airport. So this is kind of like a construction shot. The airport is building the new concourse C next to the existing concourse C. It's gonna be like a 3-story concourse there. So, and also that's on the right, it's a rendering image where my piece will be located. So it's gonna be a freestanding sculpture with glass. So Port of Seattle, Pilchuck Glass School in Stanwood, Washington, and the Museum of Glass did partnership to give me the opportunity to explore the material of glass to incubate the ideas for this project. In June 2023, I had an opportunity to participate in the residency program at Pilchuck Glass School. I was working with amazing gaffers Kazuki Takizawa, Krista Harman, and sweet assistant Zara Siddiq to experiment the material. So since I was thinking, oh, maybe I could use some like a stained glass technique for this project, so I wanted to create different ways of sheet glass making. And I found that hand-blown rondelles, which is a disc-shaped glass, has such a beautiful color reflection and texture on the surface. So I got an idea to create the sculpture with lots of rondelles. So the piece here with the drawing, it's a 7 feet high sculpture with 150 pieces of rondelles. And they're gonna be like 8 divided sections. I was inspired by the nature in Pacific Northwest, especially moss. It's such a beautiful, beautiful nature. So I would like to create the beautiful texture of moss with hand-blowing technique and create the glass sculpture with it. And at the Museum of Glass this week, I have been working with the amazing glass blowing team to create a lot of samples of rondelles to see what works well for this project. So we've been working with lots of can, that's the like a skinny glass rods to play with how I could make like a moss texture or something like a hairy texture on the surface of the glass. Yeah, I really enjoy seeing the result beyond my imagination every day. Like a lot of result like is so different, like from the drawing on the paper, but working with the hot glass, it's so different. I'm just so amazed every day. So I feel that I have the conversation with glass to develop my concept and design continuously. So I really appreciate this opportunity Port of Seattle gave me to deeply research about glass for this public art project. So this sculpture project will be completed in spring 2026 before FIFA Soccer World Cup is coming. So please stay tuned. I think that's all for today. Thank you so much. Yeah, any questions?